The conversation now inevitably sort of turns to how well is Alastair Clarkson faring at North Melbourne. Now, he's on contract till the end of next year. Clearly, when he arrived, Essendon were also chasing him, so there was a huge sense that it was a coup for North Melbourne to get Alastair Clarkson at the football club. There's no denying that he is a coach with runs on the board, with success on the board. He is a second-time coach at a second-time club, and we've talked about the history of what that looks like and how successful that has or hasn't been. But I do wonder now, Caro, what your take on this is to start, whether or not we do think that Alastair Clarkson is on borrowed time in his position.
I think he is, and I don't think it's fair to blame sold games. I mean, last year, North went over to Bunbury and to Optus, and they performed pretty well in both those games. So, and they can't get many free-to-air games. They need to sell games for $1 million. The AFL needs to look after the West Australian teams. It seemed like a win-win deal at the time. So let's put that to one side. Nothing excuses 19 goals kicked against you in a row. Now they talked in the off-season about not needing to boost their defensive stocks. Clearly, Sam, that was a mistake. And that decision will come back to haunt them. But they've been given draft concessions. They've been given a lot of help, North Melbourne, between the last 5 to 10 years. And the question now, I think, comes down to the coaching staff and the development of those players who've come in. And the list is not that bad, I don't believe. So I think that the question has always been, they're not a rich club. Can they afford to pay out a coach? Because at the moment, you've got 2 North Melbourne greats, premiership players, out of the coaching market, premiership coaches in John Longmire notably, and also Adam Simpson, and 3 other clubs looking for new coaches. So that's the decision that Jen Watt and Sonia Hood have to look at now. Do we believe in Alastair enough to give him another year? So they've won 5 games, and that was an absolute shocker. On the weekend. They've won 5 games. They need Laura. They need to make the top 10. I just don't think any other result is acceptable than making the top 10 with all the advantages they've had and they've got and the players they've got. And yet, at the moment, even that's looking, that's not looking good. So where are they sitting? 14th with a terrible percentage. Carlton have gone ahead of them. I mean, unthinkably, Carlton have gone ahead of them, and Port Adelaide and West Coast could well do the same. So I think people are saying to me that they perhaps could afford to pay out Alastair Clarkson. I don't know the details of the deal, but I just wonder whether it would be $1 million or whether it would be something a bit more mitigated.
I think it's definitely a watch this space, and it's probably specifically over the last few weeks. I think the start of the year, everyone was a bit admiring the way that North were playing. They were playing with a solid brand that you could see, and they were playing with good contest, good clearance. They were getting the ball inside 50. They were quite efficient inside 50, and you could see what they were trying to do. But over the last few weeks, Richo, the Adelaide game, I personally gave them a mulligan for that one. They've been consistently pretty good throughout the year. They were competitive in most games. Then they had that Adelaide game pop up, and the defensive side of the game really reared its head, and you started to think, hopefully not. And then a couple of weeks later, they beat the Suns. They beat the Suns, but large parts of that game, they were really, really poor. They had a really, really good last quarter and snuck over the line and won that game of football.
The Suns were coming off 2 weeks in Darwin that they were whinging and bluing and moaning about.
Basically over a three-week period for, 11 out of 12 quarters, they've been quite poor, and especially on the defensive side of the game. I think that's the most alarming stat for North at the moment is they can't defend transition at all, even when they're going inside 50 at the moment. They're either scoring or it's going the whole length of the ground the other side and scoring.
Yeah, I think you're right, Doc.
And that's coaching too, isn't it?
Yeah, there'd be an element of coaching. There's an element of players' decisions. There's all of that in company. And this is what happens when teams start going poorly. It's, do you point at the coach? Do you point at the players? I think at the next few weeks it's going to be really telling of whether the coaches can turn around the game plan and start to put in a defensive system that works.
I think you're right. The Adelaide game, you sort of thought, they had improved. You could see some signs of improvement, and they were very ordinary. Then they come back and beat the Suns, sort of papered over the cracks of the Adelaide game. That was alarming on the weekend, and it was the transition, how easy it was for Fremantle. Now, Fremantle are a complete team. They were always winning that game, but not by a record margin, the biggest margin, winning margin Freo have had in a game. And they're getting smacked out of the middle where you would think North should be reasonably strong. I mean, Cherry's nearly an All-Australian ruckman last year. He was right in the conversation. Davies Uniacke is in the sweet years of his career. Sheasel's played enough footy now that he should be an A-grader, you know, and they've got enough talent in the middle to not be getting smacked there.
So is it the players or is it the coach then?
Well, it's got to be something to do with their structure defensively. The transition, the ease of ball movement, people look at their key defence and go, they're probably one man short there. Comden's really good interceptor. Logue's probably being asked to play a role that he probably isn't. He has a key defender. He's probably your third tall. But it's the way that it's moved across the whole ground. It's not just actually your key defenders. It's your whole team defence across the ground, which is coaching. Obviously, I mean, that's your structure. So that's something you train every week through the pre-season. So they've definitely got some issues there. And that has to be, that's got to come back onto the coaching.
What did Carlton say when they sacked Michael Voss? We were 1-10. What did Essendon say? 1 win in however many games. So under Alastair, they've gone 17th, 17th, 16th, and now they're sitting at 14th.
But yeah, and the players now of all these first round draft picks they've played enough footy now.
Yep.
They shouldn't be getting beaten by 120 points. They were never winning that game, and a 6 or 7 goal margin against the best team in the comp over in Perth. It was a home game for Freo. Let's be honest, there were 13,000 Freo fans there, but not 120 odd points. So
what
you've got to ask questions
about the wildcard rounds is it seems like a bit of a get out of jail card for me with teams or coaches that aren't doing well. Oh, we've made the 10, we've made finals. It's giving people a little bit of
but Carlton has changed that a bit because Carlton have come in with a new coach and all look lost for the season. And thanks to the 10, it gives hope to Carlton fans who weren't that bad maybe as we thought. They just had the wrong coach for that period of their...
But do you think it buys coaches more time if the clubs haven't been travelling well? Because now they can set their sights on the 10 and say, oh, if I've made the 10, I've made finals.
Well, but ultimately this is a discussion around the strategy within football clubs and where they're trying to build. Are you just trying to make the 10? Is that where you are as a football club, or are you trying to be more than that? Are you rebuilding? I think what the 10, they're adding the extra 2 final spots is going to do, it's going to cause some headaches for clubs in terms of when they're strategically trying to position their list or their footy club. Where do they do and where do they count as in that top 10? Is top 10 even a success? Making finals for a long period of time has been a successful year. Does scraping into 10th when you should be at top 6 or top 8 or you've been down the bottom for a while, is that seen as a positive? I'm not sure. I don't know where it lands. It's the first year we've done it.
It is for North Melbourne.
It's not one.
Depends
If
on the
Richmond
team
made the top 10 this year, you'd go brilliant. If Essendon made the top 10, you'd go great. North Melbourne, yes, even St Kilda. Gold Coast make the top 10? No.
But
if it's only 9th or 10th, definitely not.
And that's going to be the discussions that start to come now is where is you have to be really honest with where your club and your list is at and where your expectations are at. And they can't be judged by us on the outside around, oh, you made the top 10, that's a successful year. You've got to be on a list building a journey, pulling your club to where you want to go, and whether they scrape in or not, or whether they're 2 spots out, I think the club needs to take a really strategic look about what they've got and where they're going.
An extraordinary round of footy. I mean, yesterday, that Swan St Kilda game was just one of the great spectacles. And then a close game last night, Thursday night, Friday night. It's been, apart from North Melbourne's capitulation against Freo, it's just been a brilliant round of footy.
I think you're spot on, Caro. We're pretty good in this industry of, picking holes in the game and knocking the AFL, but it's a pretty good product when you get games like we have this round. Just a sensational round. That game in Sydney yesterday, gee, it was a good game. Isaac Heaney, I think he is the best player in the game at the moment. He has absolutely everything, and he got a hard tag from Windhager, and he still managed to win the game for them. He's incredible.
It's also fascinating just that St Kilda going up with such a great plan, and we're going to have to see an evolution of Sydney's game because teams have just started to figure out how to play against them, and St Kilda went up with a very specific plan, played really, really well, and got done by basically some individual brilliance late in the game.
So I hate to talk money because it's all about what we're seeing on the field, but Isaac Heaney, not out of contract this year, but in negotiations for the big deal that will keep him a Swan forever. We know that Nick Dacos is up in, the end of 2028. I'm probably talking about 2 of the best younger players
Heaney's
in the
30,
game.
though.
Sorry. Sorry. Heaney's older, but he's got a lot of footy left in him. Nick Dacos, younger, of course. Marcus Bontempelli is just an extraordinary footballer. But they're not among the best paid footy players.
This is what I
going
struggle
around.
with, Caro. Like you hear
Nowhere near.
about the Bulldogs having interest in Zach Butters, and they're probably unlikely to meet that top $2 million figure that we hear about. But I can't wrap my head around the fact that you'd bring on Zach Butters if you were to pay him $2 million, and there's Marcus Bontempelli next to him. He's not getting coin like
the
that.
Dogs? How do they fit it all in?
They're not going to be able to afford $2
Sam
million.
Darcy and Norton and Bontempelli. I just can't see how it works.
And we're hearing 1.6, 1.7 for Brisbane's Bailey.
Zach Bailey.
Zach Bailey, sorry, if he goes to Adelaide. Zach Bailey's a really good footballer. But no wonder the Brisbane guys are saying, hey, we're not going to cop him getting anything anywhere north of 1.4, 1.5 million.
And this is kind of what the free agency's done since it's been brought in. It's brought into this period of you can, if you've got salary cap space and you can bank 5%, if you've got the money to do it now, you are attacking the better sides, knowing that they can't afford it. And then it becomes a decision of money versus premiership success. And to take premiership success or a shot at playing finals regularly, often you have to then lower your wage or teammates around you have to take pay cuts so that you can fit everyone in. And that happens around the league completely. But equally, no one's begrudging anyone by taking the big money offer to go down to one of the other sides.
And when is the next AFLPA deal, bargaining agreement?
Well, isn't it? It's being redone when Tassie comes in.
2 years, yeah.
Yep.
So Butters' deal might end up not being out of the ordinary by the end of it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
No, but the media writes us to 2031 and no one knows what's going to happen after that. So it's a fascinating conundrum, but Nick Dacos is the one for me. I mean, Collingwood need to keep him and they need to win a premiership while they've got him. So they're the ones at the crossroads at the moment.
I want to turn our attention quickly to the game last night because we will spend plenty of time over the next few hours talking about the big freeze, the reason we're here, but I want to get all your thoughts on Carlton Essendon. Sam, I know you were here at halftime last night. My 7-year-old daughter said to me, Mum, this is a bad game. It's a shambles.
It wasn't name a game. We were talking after, just quickly, Doc will cover it off because he was broadcasting the game. But we said after the St Kilda Sydney game, remember name a game? You used to order the DVDs.
Yep.
You would have ordered the St Kilda Sydney game. I'm not so sure you would have ordered last night.
No, I don't think you would have. And ultimately, it was a test of a new team in terms of Essendon and what they were going to bring, and they brought something different. And I actually have a lot of admiration for the way they played. They changed a few of their things up. You're seeing a little bit more of the DNA that Dean Solomon's trying to put in, but they went with a bigger body midfield to combat Carlton's midfield. That was a big tick. Zach Merritt out of the back line to try and give some skill and a bit of uncontested mark out of the back line. He wasn't as effective, but that part of the game worked. Ben Mackay forward, that worked. Yeah. So they did a few things that kept them in the game, but ultimately, after half-time, I dare say there would have been a bit of a rev-up. I think Carlton had 16 tackles for the first half and then had 16 in the third quarter. So their big bodies got moving inside and then turned the game a little bit, and then the class at the end got the result for the Blues.
Well, it was a horrible ending, though, with Harry Mackay. Can we listen to what Harry Mackay said on Fox Footy after the game? And I want to ask you particularly, Matthew, about that attempted goal.
I think it was slightly ambitious to think I was going to kick it from 75, but I think it was just, one of those, anytime you can take a little bit of time off the clock late. We practiced a lot of training, so, I'm glad it kind of worked.
So it's clever game management. If the umpire had said to you, hey, no, Harry, no shot clock here, would you have been able to argue the toss?
I don't, probably not. I think you just play on, but I think from memory, I reckon I was back far enough to kick it long if I didn't get allowed to have my 30, but once the umpire said you're allowed to have 30, then we're back in routine, so I think it was fine.
Harry Mackay on Fox Footy there. This was a contentious end to the game, and we want you to join the conversation. 133 693 is the number, and our best caller this afternoon will win a $100 Harvey Norman gift card. Best brands, best range, best prices, Harvey Norman, half-yearly clearance on now. There's been a lot of discussion about him milking the clock at the end of the game, but of course there was also the scoreboard error that didn't help
Became 42 seconds.
Became 42 seconds at the end of the game. Now, this is something, as you both would be aware, Doc and Richo, that footy clubs train for. This is a tactic. There's no doubt this is a tactic to wind the clock back. Did you think it was fair game?
I don't think he should have been allowed to wipe 42 seconds off. This is why they brought in the shot clock, because it used to happen all the time. You'd go back and say you're having a shot and you'd take as long as you wanted, basically. So they brought it in for these situations. Now, how realistic was it that he could make the distance there? Very unrealistic.
Well, he just pretty much admitted that.
It's smart by Harry, and it's great game management. But this is the
Matthew.
The common sense side of it there. The umpire has to go, Harry, you're not making the distance. You've got to call him play on and get him moving. So Yeah, it did wipe those extra seconds off, which effectively, helped the Blues. But yeah, I think it's just common sense with the umpire. If the player's having a shot from 75, unless you're Anthony Rocker, and the umpires should know the limits of a player as well. If that was Anthony Rocker back in the day, you might have gone, yeah, he can do this. We've seen him do it before. But I don't think I've seen Harry nail one from there. So, yeah, it was well done by Harry, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
You try and milk the rules the best you can.
And to Harry's point that he said there, clubs train all of these details during the week. With how close AFL footy is, when scenarios come late in games, that's the exact stuff that you would train at training would be. If you get a mark within 50 to 60, put your hand up like you're having a shot, get the 30 and wipe it off the clock. What's the alternative? This is the great conundrum around the AFL. Everyone, once these things happen, everyone starts coming up with what the rule should be.
The umpires are told if it's an unrealistic attempt, you make them play on.
You play on, yeah, and that does happen though. Like it's not like that doesn't happen, but as you said, it's so subjective into.
I thought it was pretty obvious
happens.
in this event.
That one, I agree.
The AFL I spoke to today, they're backing the umpire, which surprises me. Now, Carlton have won 4 on the.
Surprise me at all.
Surprised me.
On this occasion, it surprises me. Carlton have won 4 in a row. They're now a realistic chance to make finals, certainly to make the wildcard round. Josh Fraser still says he's not in for the job. Can we have a listen to Josh after the game?
No. I've got no plans to do any of that. I've got some plans to try and get back to the farm at Mansfield and spend a couple of days up there and recharge a little bit, but no plans other than that.
Sam, I don't believe a word of it.
I don't believe it either.
I'm sorry. Yeah, there is no doubt, and I know we all fall for the caretaker at times, and I know it has happened and it's been a disaster. In this case, it just feels right.
Yeah, there is elements of it that it does feel right at the moment, and you're careful not to ride the momentum wave of right now. There's still plenty of weeks left of the season. What I can see happen, and he did get asked this on Fox last night as well, around if the club comes to you and asks, will you be part of the process, what would you say? He still said no. And I think what he's doing at the moment is he's gone the opposite. Everyone's now thinking he's so humble, and he's like, that's the exact...
He's done an anti-herd.
That's the exact person you would want in charge of your football club. We had Sam Walsh after the game last night in his interview, and he was glowing in his endorsement for how good Fraser is as a coach. You've got to take everyone for their face value at the moment. I know you can believe what you want, but he's clearly said that he's not in it at the moment. But
I'm
where
not
that goes over the next
lying,
little bit...
But I think it will change if this keeps happening. And Laura, it feels targeted to me. So Graham Wright went after him this year, prized him away from Collingwood. Collingwood still don't have a head of development, which is something we can look at later when we talk about Collingwood. But and the minute Michael Voss looked in trouble, which was pretty early in the season, there was only one choice, who was going to be the caretaker.
So you think Graham Wright will try and talk him around?
I know he's an enormous fan.
Right.
I know he's a massive fan. He got him to Carlton with a specific view to put him in a pivotal role. He got him to Carlton knowing that that Michael Voss probably wouldn't be here beyond this year. And Josh has said all the right things.
Simon, kick us off. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I think it was bleedingly obvious to everyone, including your panel and myself, that Mackay was milking the clock to gain an edge for Carlton, which, the players, if they can gain an edge, they will. But it's not the players' responsibility to umpire the game. And I think if the umpire had said, no, Harry, you're a kick and a half from goal, move it on, play on, it wouldn't have been the issue that it became today. And for that reason, it is surprising that the AFL has backed the umpire in.
No, I think you're spot on. Absolutely spot on. Players forever have tried to milk rules and get little advantages where they can, and that's one of them. What Harry did was smart, and the umpire just had to be better.
Simon, thank you. Hello, Mark.
Yes, good afternoon, panel. Caroline, if you recall, I mentioned this on Saturday with you and Lee about having a shot for goal and wasting time and milking the clock, if you recall that.
You did. You were prophetic, Mark.
Now, panel, I think it irks me. I think it's sort of cheating. And like the other caller said, it's not the player's fault, it's the system. I reckon 15 seconds should do the trick. I mean, really, once a player gets the ball in his hand, why does he need 30 seconds?
Richo, do you need 30?
No, you need more than 15. I mean, this game... it demands a lot of you physically. If you've just run 100 metres up and back to take a mark and you're knackered on the ground, you've been whacked in the back on the way down. A defender's fallen on top of you. 15 seconds. 15 seconds is not enough to regain your composure and have a shot at goal.
A shot for goal from 75 metres, and an umpire said to you, Richo, come on. It's not realistic.
Would you give him the bird?
Would you be insulted?
Oh, I'd be filthy. Yeah, I'd give him the bird and swear at him and abuse him and probably give away a 50.
But deep down in your heart, would you know he was right?
For me, I reckon if I'm having a shot, if the player on the mark is standing anywhere outside 50, you've got to really hit it sweet. If the player's standing on 50 or inside, you're very confident you can get the distance. You might hook it a bit but if the player on the mark's 52, 53, up to 55 metres and you're having a shot, you've got to hit it sweetly.
You're kidding yourself.
You're kidding yourself.
And to the point around cheating, I don't think it's cheating at all. I think that AFL gives the rules, and the job of the players in the club is to find as many little loopholes as they can find in it. And that's the whole point of the rules, and that's why the rules seem to change so many times.
So, Doc, you're just out of the game. So you look at your Carlton teammates, say, last year. How many guys on that list could kick a goal with the player on the mark 52, 53 out? Realistically, to do it regularly. Is there anyone?
No. Well, there'd be maybe a Mitch McGovern might be half a chance, but
so there might be one.
Maybe one or two would be max.
That answers the question on whether Harry could make the distance.
Thank you, Mark. Hello, Steve.
Yeah, g'day, panel. This game is full of so many rules that are grey and difficult to umpire. It strikes me this rule is so simple to fix. Just make it that the man on the mark has to be in the 50. Otherwise, there's just not an option of the 30 seconds. Just take it away from the umpire having to make a judgment.
I'm always a big believer in you just got to accept that our game is grey, and I don't think we'll ever get to black and white rules.
Common sense rule.
And to be honest, case, we've had a push to get to black and white rules. And I think that's what's frustrated everyone with the holding the ball is everyone's so confused about holding the ball because the umpires umpire to a cue, which is trying to be black and white when there's just so much grey in the game. There's going to be mistakes from umpires, players all throughout AFL footy, and I know it's frustrating at times, but it's part of the game identity.
Graham, you're up next. What do you think?
I think a couple of gentlemen before got it pretty right when they said about why do you get 30 seconds at full forward? Every other player on the ground that runs 3 times as far as the full forward or anybody kicking for goal, why do they get special treatment?
Well, because you're kicking for goal and it's very difficult.
Graham, none of us have got a defender kneeing us in the back.
You've got to give the player who's taken the mark some time to have a deep breath and compose himself. It's an important part of the game, clearly. You've got to score to win, and you've got to give them more time than around the ground.
But be careful to wish upon 15 seconds and then no one can kick a goal straight, and then all of a sudden the game turns.
Carol, I'm going to give you right of reply to one of our callers who rang in the Sunday roast yesterday and had a special roast just for you. This is Zook, who rang in.
My roast is, look, I'm here nor here with Hurdy coming back as Essendon coach, but I think Caroline Wilson, she needs to stop getting her hate towards Essendon and Hurdy and just let it go. It's just, like everyone's got an opinion on him, but the way she just keeps going on about it, like she said that the AFL, she's told that the AFL don't want him to come back, and then Dill comes back and says, oh no, we don't have a problem. Just give it a break, you know what I mean? Stop hating.
Stop hating, Caro.
Oh, come on, Zook. I never said the AFL was against... if I was the AFL, I would have some concerns, but I don't think the AFL... I never said the AFL was going to block James Hird. And what did Zook call him? Dill. I don't think Andrew Dillon has got any issue either. What I have said, which is just common sense, is that I don't think Essendon are going to go for a bloke who's been out of the system for 11 years. Now, he spent a couple of months or 3 months up at GWS. He's been offered assistant coaching jobs, James, and he has shown no inclination to do it. And I listened to Ken Hinkley and Alastair Clarkson and Paul Roos, who all say that it's too tough now to come back into the system when you haven't coached. And James doesn't want to go back and be an assistant coach, and that is totally his right. But I think Essendon believe they need someone more experienced. And look, I don't hate Essendon. My husband is a fanatical Essendon supporter. I want Essendon to get better. That's a ridiculous statement.
So, Caro, the problem is, though, you've got coaches that may go for the role that are saying that they don't feel like it would be a fair process if James was in that role. So do Essendon need to, because James is going to go for it, even if they do have a process, right? Is that going to then mean other people won't go for it because of his presence in the process? This is the whole problem with it.
Unless Essendon does a complete 180, Matthew, I think that there won't be the sort of process that we've seen in the past. I think it will be a targeted search.
Right.
I still feel very strongly that John Longmire is who Essendon have in their sights. And
So they might just ring him and see if he wants it, and if he does, he gets it.
You're not going to put John Longmire through a process. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, you're just not. Just like Alastair Clarkson didn't do one at North. They know, you know what you're getting. If you want him, you want him. I honestly believe that, yes, James will haunt Essendon, maybe till the day he dies. But someone at Essendon, if that's what they think, and that's the way I think they're thinking, I believe they're thinking, they need to tell him, James, we want John Longmire, or we want Ken Hinkley, or we're going to go for someone who has worked in the system for the last decade. We can't risk going for someone who... So
when are they going to announce how they're going to do it?
Over the
Surely
bye.
they know now
over the
what they're
bye,
doing.
I reckon. Yeah, I think it'll be sooner rather than later. And I also point out that, James didn't do a coaching apprenticeship the first time around. And look how that ended up. I don't know how he can be any better. All I hear about James is that he is passionate about the club. He has a family connection. He adores the club. Now, I could say that about you in Richmond. I've never seen a more passionate Richmond person than you, or a greater champion at Richmond, and you have a family connection. No offence. That's not enough to get you the coaching job.
I want it, though.
Well, bad luck.
Breaking news.
Matthew Richardson wants to coach Richmond.
But that's all I hear. And we read about his belief in AI and the tough business decisions he's made. That's not a coaching apprenticeship.
Zook, there's your response for Caro. Thank you for calling. Take that, Zook. Take that, Zook. Stop hating, Caro.